Hey, what's going on, guys? Crass Businessman here. Today we were going to talk about a way to prevent burnout, but instead we're going to address an issue that just keeps popping up, and it's fucking ridiculous. Today's quote of the day is, when you're young, you look at television and think, there's a conspiracy. The networks have conspired to dumb us down. But when you get a little older, you realize that's not true. The networks are in business to give people exactly what they want. And that's a quote by actually Steve Jobs. So I keep seeing this meme about how someone has started a GoFundMe for the U.S.-Mexico border wall. And people are extremely upset because it raised money fast, I guess. I can't quite think of the name of the logical fallacy they commit, but essentially they've created a meme that says, "We raised $5 million in 5 days, and meanwhile Flint still doesn't have fresh water. How can we be so evil? We could have built 40,000 homes for the homeless. This is just sickening." Okay, couple of fucking things. First, Flint's water has been safe to drink since May. State of Michigan issued a statement after conducting countless water quality tests, coming to the consensus that it is now safe. They replaced over 6,000 lead pipes since last December, and it's fine now. But there's a few things that also need addressed. See, people try to make it out like somebody evil was behind this, and they intentionally contaminated the water supply. No, we didn't know way back in the day that lead was bad, and as a result, we installed a lot of pipe that was manufactured using lead. Kind of like how we did with asbestos. Therefore, we had a lot of lead pipes in use. Now, granted, this problem probably should have been addressed a while back, sure, but it's really hard to track down which pipes were lead and which ones weren't, not to mention where they are. I mean, fuck, there's still lead pipes in use over here in Arizona, and we'd have to demolish like millions of homes to get rid of all the lead pipes. You got to dig under the slabs. And for the most part, these pipes were used for drainage and not supply lines because they don't hold well to pressure, but it's another moot point. But for all these people who are all up in arms about the Flint water crisis that is no longer an issue, it's like, okay, motherfucker, how much did you contribute to the Flint crisis? I'm guessing zero. But how much money did you spend buying the new iPhone? And then 5.5 months later, how much more money did you spend getting the newer iPhone with marginally better features? How many times did you go to Dutch Brothers and buy a $5 latte? I'm guessing a lot. But here's the thing. Just because other issues exist, in this case it didn't, but just because the other ones exist, it doesn't mean that raising money for a different cause is somehow being callous to the other issues. Because if that was a logical path, let's take it back to 2008. Former President Obama funded much of his campaign off of donations. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in 2008 there were still a lot of issues in the world, including people starving in Africa. How dare he raise money for a cause when bad things are happening? That's sarcasm. It's a fucking ridiculous notion. Side note, I actually did vote for Obama. But don't act like you give a fuck about other people when you haven't done a goddamn thing to help any of these situations. Now see, all of this leads back to the left being against the border wall. But let me ask those who oppose it a question. Do you own a house? And for those that do you have a fence around your house? If you do, then why? Is it maybe possible that you don't want just anybody in your backyard or on the property? Would you be okay with anyone who just wants to walking into your house as they please? What about a potential drug dealer or a human trafficker? If that's the case, why do you even have locks on your doors? Now, more than likely, I'm going to get accused of making an apples to oranges comparison because whenever someone has a valid point and they try to illustrate that point using an analogy or a metaphor, what I often find is that nothing seems to satisfy. See, even if the situations are exactly identical, the shitty counter-argument I often hear is, well, those are different, though. But literally everything on the planet is different from everything else. It doesn't have to be a perfect comparison to illustrate the point. See, as long as you're comparing similar things, that's the entire purpose of using the analogy in the first place. So before being a douchebag that shares these wildly inaccurate and misleading memes in order to garner support for bullshit, do your research. See, I'm not saying that the right is always correct. They often aren't. But judge these issues after doing legitimate research and coming to a sober, unbiased, and logical conclusion. This is after actually fucking thinking. That's it for this video, guys. Sorry for the rant. Once again, I'm Crass Businessman. Please like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you want, do whatever. Until next time, stay productive.